Once again, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Dave Buggy with Behringer Associates. We're going to go ahead and start the presentation. Just a few notes before we get started regarding GoToWebinar. You are in the GoToWebinar client, excuse me, and you have a few things that you may want to do to make your experience a little better. First of all is that you can switch to full screen mode using the circle with a square in it. That'll make the presentation full screen. And you can use the orange arrow to minimize the GoToWebinar client so you have the most screen space available to you. You are in mute and listen only mode. So we do encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation, and you can do so just by using the question panel within your GoToWebinar client. So if you'd like to ask a question, if you've minimized your GoToWebinar client, just use that orange arrow to maximize it. Go to the questions area, go ahead and type in your question. We'll be taking questions throughout the presentation. And we'll also allow time at the end for question and answer as well. So I mentioned I'm Dave Buggy, Vice President and Partner here at Behringer Associates, and welcome you to our presentation this afternoon. Thought I'd get started with just a little background about Behringer for those of you that aren't familiar with us, but we've been around a long time, 21 years at this point. Our focus from day one has been on technology solutions for wholesale distribution and supply chain. We are a Microsoft Gold CRM certified solutions partner, and we are a Microsoft industry partner for wholesale distribution. Lots of experience, over about 15 years of implementing CRM solutions for distributors across the country. So lots of great best practice experience. We had a webinar yesterday, in fact, on best practices for distributors in implementing CRM. So there will be a recording posted up on our YouTube channel to that within the next day, and we'll go ahead and shoot out an email with the link to that. You may want to take a look at that as well. We offer a version of Microsoft Dynamics CRM specifically for distribution, and that product is called CRM for Distribution. It is a version of the Microsoft Dynamics CRM product that we've tailored pretty significantly around the needs, the CRM needs of a wholesale distributor. It is a certified for Microsoft Dynamics application. It is available in cloud or on-premise, and a component of that solution is DataSync Cloud, which is our cloud-based ERP and CRM integration platform. So we're going to talk through both of those before we get started here. But I thought maybe we'd spend a minute just sharing with you the reasons that we see distributors embracing CRM technology. And these go back a lot of years in working with distributors, and it kind of is the lead-up story around why we developed a CRM product specifically for distribution, in that we used to walk into a distributor years and years ago and open a notebook and say, well, what do you need to do with CRM? And what we found over years of doing that was that what a lot of distribution businesses needed to accomplish, there were synergies there. There were a lot of the same themes running throughout those conversations. So we took a step back and we actually developed a product in CRM for distribution, which we'll talk about in a minute, and really it was developed around a lot of these points here on the slide. So what we find is that what distributors are looking to accomplish with CRM largely is to centralize their information. It's very common when we walk into a distributor prior to them having CRM that they've got data spread throughout the organization. They've got their ERP system. They might have some users on Outlook that are doing contact management. They might have some spreadsheets and other data spread throughout the organization. And that makes it very, very difficult to do things like targeted marketing, any kind of centralized reporting, and just overall generally a challenge to have your data spread throughout different systems throughout your enterprise. Secondly is improving lead follow-up. I don't think anybody would argue that timely follow-up today, we're such a real-time world, is so important with leads and prospects that you have coming into your business. Also, the collaboration piece between inside sales and outside sales, or customer service and outside sales, very prominent in our customers. And both those environments are touching the same customers, and prior to CRM, there's just not a lot of good collaboration. Collaboration was done by email and phone calls and things like that, and they're both touching the same customers. So to have those two teams on the same page is critically important. Enforcing consistency in the way that you do business as a whole, and having some consistency across your business processes, something we hear a lot. Back when the economy started to turn, we started to hear a lot of distributors talking about looking at their customers from a net profitability perspective. Very different than gross profit, obviously, and we have some tools built into our solution that get you a much more closer view of net profitability within your customers, and something that's very valuable to look at. Improving marketing abilities, you'd probably agree that one of the easiest ways to get ignored by people that you're marketing to is to send them information that's not relevant to them. So in a lot of distributors prior to CRM, it was very challenging for them to do any type of real targeted marketing. For example, trying to do targeted marketing around customers that buy a certain item, or maybe all the customers or even prospects that have a certain item out on quote, and so forth. Pretty difficult to be able to do that. And in our solution, it's literally point and click, and you can have a marketing campaign executed in just a couple of minutes. And it's very targeted. Improving cross-selling, one of the best ways to improve revenue overall is to sell more, obviously, but to sell more into customers that you already have a relationship with. Typically that's a lot easier than going out and acquiring new customers and having the cost of acquisition of a new customer. So having tools that's going to expose those cross-selling opportunities that you have could be very impactful. Quote follow-up. Most every distributor that we work with, we're implementing a quotation follow-up process, as well as just a forecasting process around quotations overall. And then also just general better reporting and business intelligence, allowing the business to make much better decisions about how they run the business. So it's kind of our hot list that we've developed over the years, and hopefully that's resonating with those of you that are on the session today. Certainly some things that we're going to talk through as we go forward in our presentation. So just a little bit about our solution, Microsoft CRM for distribution. Again, stepping back in time, we used to go into every client and discuss with them what they needed out of a CRM solution, and we found that there were so many commonalities and synergies amongst what distributors were looking to accomplish with CRM overall. So we decided to take all the intellectual property that we had developed over the years for different clients and package that into a cohesive offering called Microsoft CRM for Wholesale Distribution. And that is, as I said, a Microsoft certified application. It's called Certified for Microsoft Dynamics. So Microsoft has done a deep dive into what we've developed and certified that as a good product for Microsoft CRM. So it is a product that gets installed on top of the base Microsoft Dynamics CRM solution, and it turns the solution into one that was developed specifically around the needs of a distributor. So you've got all the out-of-box functionality that comes with Microsoft CRM, and then you also get all the functionality that we've developed in our solution, which is a lot of customer reports, dashboards, workflows, and then a number of different modules of functionality that's in our solution as well, such as sales call and expense tracking, a cost to serve module, customer profitability analysis, and so forth. Also, to light up a lot of that functionality, we offer a integration platform, a cloud-based integration platform called DataSync Cloud. And again, back a number of years ago, we would have to do a custom integration for each client that we would implement. And the barriers of entry there were around cost of middleware software, as well as the cost of the initial development of that integration. So once again, we took a step back. We developed a platform called DataSync Cloud that is a cloud-based integration platform that integrates ERP systems with CRM. Near real-time, so things are synchronizing in almost a real-time fashion. So if, let's say, there's an order or a quote entered in the ERP system, that's synchronizing over to CRM almost instantaneously. No upfront cost for software or hardware, no ongoing cost to maintain any software or hardware. And the pricing on the DataSync Cloud integration platform is based on a consumption model. So it means that it's priced based on the amount of data that's flowing through the platform on a monthly basis. So generally we find that it's a couple $100 flat rate per month for most of the clients that we do business with, and that's for up to 1.5 million records going through the integration per year. So if you have any questions on that, we can certainly address those as we go through or at the end of the presentation, or certainly give me a call offline and we can talk about that further. So let's talk about our data integration points. Starting with accounts, we completely replicate the account structures that you have already defined in your ERP system. And that's important because you wouldn't want people to have to think about customer and structures differently when they look at them in CRM than when they look at them in the ERP system. So if I just pop over here to our CRM solution and I go over into the customer area, give you a visual kind of go along with this. So if I search on a customer here called Bayberry, what you'll notice is that we have a number of different records in here for that customer. One of them is the parent level record, and everything beneath that rolls up to that parent level, and then you have all the ship to records individually in the system as well. And these are all tied together. So what it enables you to do is to analyze things either at an individual ship-to level or to analyze things across the entire customer relationship. So again, these are all linked together in the database. We also bring over vendors and suppliers. So if I change my view out here and pull down, let's say, active suppliers, so now I'm looking at our suppliers. And once again, if I pull it down and access vendors, now I'm looking at our vendors. Back to the customers, these are also automatically assigned to the same sales rep that they are in the ERP system. And security is applied. This is certainly up to each customer, but the default security model is that each sales rep can only see their own customers and therefore can only see their own quotes, their own orders, their own invoices, their own sales history, and so forth. Now there's lots of ways that model can be changed and adapted. That's just what we see being implemented in most of our clients. Then on the inside sales level, they typically don't work on a named account basis, so they can typically see everything in the database. So we also bring over lots of sales history information, which we'll touch on today. Also the complete quotation history for a client, and there certainly is a quotation module in CRM. So if you're not doing quotations in your ERP system and you're looking for a solution for quoting, we can certainly fulfill that with the quotation module that's built into CRM. We bring over inventory products, so you can write from your mobile device, because everything we're going to look at today is available on a mobile device. So right from a mobile device, you could be in front of a customer, and you could check inventory. You could pull up an item, see what kind of stock you have, what stocking location you have stock in, what's allocated, and so forth right from your mobile device. We bring over all the orders and invoice detail for customers. So when you look at a customer, you're able to look into their order history and also look into their sales history via invoices. And we take that all the way down to the line item level. So we'll touch on that. If you're doing anything with components and assemblies, we typically bring that over as well into CRM. So there are standard integration points and a lot of kind of sub-integration points here. I won't go through those verbatim, but you can see that we have a pretty deep level of integration that we developed. And we have a number of different ERP systems that we've integrated with, and that's kind of an off-the-shelf integration that we can implement. Or if we haven't integrated with your individual ERP system, we have a data map available for CRM for distribution that makes it easy to map data from your ERP system into our solution. So everybody's seen enough PowerPoint in their day. Let's go ahead and jump out of PowerPoint and let's go over into the solution. And I'm going to start here in Microsoft Outlook. One of the big benefits of the Microsoft CRM platform as a whole is that it's completely integrated with Microsoft Outlook. Number of different advantages to that. One of them is in end-user adoption. So if you're already using Outlook to manage your email, adding CRM functionality to it is a lot easier for people to adopt and learn than it is learning an entirely different software package, right, in a standalone CRM system. So we also typically find that people will adopt this a lot faster. They'll also come up to speed a lot quicker on using the system because it is just Microsoft Outlook. And it's not just an add-in to Outlook. You'll see here that while I'm in Outlook, I'm already logged into CRM, so it's a single sign-on. And all of your CRM functionality is available to you right in Outlook and right from an email. So I could be on any one of these emails here in my inbox and go up and create follow-up activities and things like that, even create a new lead, let's say, in the CRM system. Additionally, over on the left-hand side, you'll notice that there's links to all the areas of CRM. So if I wanted to go and I wanted to look up a customer, for example, I can just click on the accounts area in Outlook, and that actually drills into the customer accounts area of Microsoft CRM. So I could then just double-click or search for a customer. So if I wanted to find that same customer, Bayberry, I just type in their account name. Whoops, and I think I have an Outlook error here, so let me let that restart. My demo gremlin for the day. But you'd be able to access all those records right from within Microsoft Outlook. It's actually accessing the CRM database in the background, and it's just letting you work through Outlook within the in the CRM system itself. So let me just navigate back down there. We'll give that a minute to fully open up here, and we'll be able to come back to that. So another big advantage to the Microsoft Outlook integration is the email linking that takes place. So as you're emailing in and out of Microsoft Outlook with customers, prospects, vendors, even internally amongst employee to employee, that email correspondence can automatically be captured and placed in the history of records in CRM. And it does that by email address. So there's only one person in the world that has the email address of dbuggy@behringer.net. Not that anybody else would want that email address, but there's only one person that has that. So when email is being sent in and out of Microsoft Outlook, a one-to-one correlation can be made between an email address and a record in CRM. So as it passes through your email server, each email is examined and the email address is looked at, and then it tries to make an association to a record in CRM. And if it finds a corresponding record with that email address, it takes a copy of that email and logs it into the history of that record in the CRM system. That happens automatically or can happen automatically, but you can also excuse me, link emails manually to records in CRM, and that's beneficial if you're communicating internally. Okay, so if I crank up a new email here and say I'm communicating with somebody internally here, and we'll pick on Brian. Oops. So I wouldn't want to necessarily let that link by email address because it would link to an internal employee and probably just have so much email history that it wouldn't be usable. So what I'd like to do is to link that email to, let's say, a customer record or even a quote, okay, or an order that came over from the ERP system. So to do that, I can just set that to log against a record in CRM by tagging it manually. So let's say I wanted to log that email against the customer record Bayberry, because that's who we're going to be discussing. So all I would have to do is do a quick search, tag the record, and you can see that this email is now linked to the Bayberry customer record in our CRM system. So copy of this email would be in the history of that customer record. When Brian receives this email, he's got a nice little link here that he can click on to open up that customer record from CRM, so very productive. And the trail of this email will be logged against that customer record in CRM. So very beneficial. We all communicate quite often today by email, and capturing that correspondence can be pretty important. So in addition to the Outlook integration, you also have full use from a browser. So I've just switched over now to Internet Explorer, but it also works through Apple Safari, Google Chrome, Firefox, and so forth. So if you're partial to another browser other than Internet Explorer, then you can use that other browser with Microsoft CRM as well. And obviously, if you don't use Microsoft Outlook for email, then you would be using the system through a browser. So it's certainly your option, whether you'd use it through Outlook or through a browser, whichever is best. So I wanted to start off here in the leads area of the system. I'm just going to go over here, drill down into leads. So there is a full lead or prospect management module included in Microsoft CRM and CRM for distribution. So it allows you to kind of separate the prospects, and let's call them suspects that you're working on, and separate them from both your active customers and your qualified prospects. So these are leads that are currently assigned to me as a salesperson, and I'm using the system to work on these leads and to try and get them interested in our product. And then, of course, marketing is using this area of the system to market to these leads and also try and get them interested in our product and services. So if I open up one of these leads, a couple things I want to point out here. One is that Microsoft CRM has a nice business process tool built into it. So you can see here that inside this lead, there is a business process, and it's telling me how to work through qualifying this particular lead. So right now I'm in the qualify stage. To move it over to the development stage, I would have to satisfy all of the required actions in the qualify stage. So, and you can make, this is completely tailorable, by the way, and you can make certain items required and certain items recommended, right? So if I wanted to make sure that they were establishing a budget, I could make that task required, and then they wouldn't be able to move forward in the process flow here until that item was satisfied. So really, really helpful for enforcing consistency amongst business processes, and really beneficial to an end user to have a graphical flow of a business process right here on their screen. So I also wanted to show you the activity feed area here of the record. Activity feeds in CRM are like kind of like Twitter feeds. So if you use Twitter, the concept is that you follow people on Twitter, and then Twitter feeds you updates as those people you're following post stuff on Twitter. Okay? So very similar concept here, that you can subscribe to records in CRM, and automatically the system will keep you up to date on what's been happening with these records. So when you open up the record, you can go right to the activity flow here, and it's going to automatically show you all the things that have happened with this record recently, and really as far back as this record goes in terms of when it was created. So I can see that, there was some product literature sent, there were some workflows where the lead was assigned, there was an intro call scheduled, and so forth, and I can see all of that in a digest format. So really helpful for you to, at a glance, and emails are posted here as well. So when emails are linked to the record in CRM, they become part of the activity feed. So just at a glance, you can come up to speed very quickly on what's been happening with a record in CRM. And that can be a lead, can be a customer, can be a sales opportunity, and so forth. And one other thing that I wanted to show you is that Microsoft CRM can be completely integrated with your website. And a lot of people use that for collecting leads. So if you're doing internet marketing, or and hopefully everybody is, and you're collecting leads, you're getting leads to your site, what you can do is you can put contact forms on your website that are fully integrated with Microsoft CRM. So when somebody comes to your website, they have a form they can fill out to request more information, and when they do that, it automatically creates a new lead in your Microsoft CRM system. So really great way of getting leads into your system, and then in our system we have some automatic lead assignments. So we assign leads out automatically based on geography, or let's say around product interest, and we actually then have workflow that whoever the lead is assigned to, they have 24 hours to update that lead, and if they don't, then our sales manager gets an email letting them know that there's a lead that hasn't been followed up on. So just a couple of examples. Obviously, you could tailor those things to your individual business, but integrating it with your website, if you're collecting leads from your website, can be pretty powerful. So as you work through the system and you work through a lead, the next stage hopefully is that you're going to qualify it. Now, you could also disqualify it and give a reason, so they were no longer interested or you couldn't reach them, whatever the case may be. Or you could qualify them. And qualifying a lead essentially takes it from a lead over into a sales opportunity. So a great way to do opportunity management, forecasting, pipeline, things like that is to utilize the opportunity module in Microsoft CRM. So if I go into the opportunity module, just to open up one of these opportunities here, what you'll notice is that you also have the process flow here on a sales opportunity. So this could be a best practice for how to work through a sales opportunity. You also, as part of our solution, CRM for Distribution, we take forecasting all the way down to the supplier, vendor, item group, or even to the line item level. And all that is synchronized over from your ERP system. So when I go in here and I do a search on suppliers, these are all the suppliers that we're integrating over from the ERP system. Same thing with vendors. And same thing with item groups, that if I do a lookup on item groups, you'll see that we synchronize all the item groups or item categories. It might be a little bit different in your ERP system, but we synchronize all that over from your ERP system. Additionally, we synchronize over all the items as well, your inventory items, so you're able to go in and you're able to add items to your opportunity in CRM. And this takes your forecasting down to a much more granular level. So it takes it down to the supplier, vendor, item group, or even all the way down to the item level and gives you a much better perspective on your forecast and your pipeline at those levels. But just a really great opportunity module overall. You know, you've got weighting in here, so those of you that are familiar with a weighted pipeline, you know, we've got probability percentages. So if you have a $100,000 opportunity and it's marked as a 50% probability, when you look at a weighted pipeline, it's going to be a $50,000 opportunity, right? So some great just general opportunity management functionality. You also have competitive win-loss tracking in the system as well, so you can add competitors to your sales opportunity and manage your sales opportunity from a competitive standpoint. The nice thing about doing that is that when you go to close the opportunity, it's going to then mark either who you won against or who you lost to in terms of competition, right? So if I say I lost this opportunity, it's going to say, oops, tell me there's still some activities that are open, so I can't actually close that opportunity. Let's pick another one here. But when I close that opportunity is lost, it's going to ask me for a reason, and it's going to ask me for who the ultimate competitor was that won that business. So I just tag that competitor, and that the system then keeps track of that, and there's a really great competitive win-loss report in the system out of box. So just by using the opportunity module, you gain just so much valuable information. Some of the things are, you know, around obviously competitive win-loss, but also just win-loss amongst your sales team. It's just great information to have. I know on my sales team, every rep, I know what their win-loss rate is, and even can take that down to the product level. So I know which reps do the best at selling certain solutions that we offer, which reps are best in competitive situations, and so forth. And it's really all just very simple, out-of-box functionality that comes with the system. So let's go over to, and let's say that we win this opportunity, and this particular prospect then becomes a customer. So Safeco here would become a customer. And what would happen then is it would start collecting information from the ERP system as things happened in the ERP system, orders getting placed and so forth. So let's go ahead and jump over there. We'll go into our customer accounts area. And let's open up our friend Bayberry here. So we have a number of different pieces of functionality that we've developed with CRM for Distribution, and just a whole bunch of dashboards and reports and workflows that come with our solution. So as we look down through this customer record, I'm going to point out a few key areas of functionality. scroll down a little bit. One is around our customer ranking functionality. So every night in our solution, based on either sales dollars or in gross profit or even net profit dollars, we're able to go through and rank your customers and give them a ranking, A, B, C, D, E. And we can either do that automatically, so the system figures out mathematically what the breaks are average-wise between A-level customers, B-level customers, and so forth, and we'll use that then to assign the rank. Or you can kind of tell us what those thresholds are. So if you say, you know, an A-level customer is anybody doing $100,000 or more in a rolling 12-month fashion, and a B customer is 99,000 to 60,000 and so forth, and we can set those thresholds in the ranking module. A lot of our customers also run a sales process on the customer rank. An example of that would be that, let's say that you want your outside sales rep to visit your A-level customers once every 30 days. So a workflow in the system will watch to make sure that any customer that's an A-level customer, that the sales rep, in this case Rob Hess, logs a sales call against this customer in CRM. And if he doesn't do that within 30 days, then management can be notified, and it can be part of a sales manager's dashboard. It can even be part of the sales rep's dashboard in terms of what customers he is out of compliance with that requirement on. So really great functionality overall. We bring a lot of information into CRM and create a lot of views around sales history. So you can see here that when I look at this customer, I've got a full perspective on sales history from a year to date, actually a month to date, year to date, last year to date, and then rolling all the way back to 24 months. So at any point in the year, you can look at this customer and know exactly where they're averaging or trending from either a 12-month or a 24-month perspective. So in either case, either looking at this year compared to last year, or looking at rolling 12 months compared to 24 months, we're down at this customer by 36%. So that's a significant decline. We have workflow in the system that will notify the account manager whenever a customer drops by more than X%, and you define that percentage. So you want to get involved in that early, obviously, so maybe it's 5%, and when they drop more than 5%, then the sales rep is going to get a notification. Similarly, around gross margin, you know, maybe this is a customer that you extended some special pricing to, and you really want to watch their gross margin. So you could put a workflow alert on this customer on their gross margin, so if they fall below a certain amount, that somebody's notified. We also have some visual indicators here as well, so you can see that bad news is red, good news is green, and that's true across lots of different things that we look at, right? So reds are warning signs, and greens are go. So you'd be notified either when the customer declines or when their gross margin reaches a percentage level that you set. So just really great perspective around sales history overall. We also create a lot of views around what a customer is buying. So we can give you views around what items a customer is buying, what vendor lines a customer is buying, what item classes or product groups a customer is buying, and show that to you in a graphical format in a this year versus last year perspective. So really helpful in further analyzing the customer sales performance and really looking for those cross-selling opportunities. So you know if they're buying one item category, then they must be buying another item category, but they're just not buying it from you. So some really great stuff that we do around sales history in general. Also, we have some really great metrics around quoting. So when you look at the customer, we're showing all their open quotes for this particular customer. So if I'm a sales rep, this is something I'm definitely going to focus on. And all these different areas of the customer record, we've also got charts and graphs as well that you can use to visualize the information. So if I was meeting, let's say, with this customer, I would sort their quotes here, maybe by date or dollar amount. And I have that information at my fingertips. I could even drill all the way down into a quote and all the way down into the line items of that quote, even though that quote generated in the ERP system, right? So if I was in front of the customer on my tablet, I could open this up, drill all the way down into an individual quote, and go all the way down to the line item level and see exactly what was quoted to this customer. So really great information. Again, all this is available on the mobile client as well. And then, we have all their orders, all their invoices, and a lot of other information that we collect about the customer, AR information, and so forth. We bring over into CRM from the ERP system as well. So let's maybe switch gears a little bit here and talk a little bit about marketing. In terms of the functionality included in the system, it's just there's a vast amount of marketing functionality. And one of those hot button topics that we talked about was performing better targeted marketing. So the example I gave is maybe you want to go and you want to look up customers that buy a certain item or that have certain items on quote or have bought a certain item before but not purchased it in the last year. All of that is available to you in CRM for distribution because all that data is coming in and being pumped in from your ERP system. So let's take the scenario that you wanted to go find customers that buy a certain item. So let's go over into the marketing module. And we're going to start here in accounts. And there's a tool in Microsoft CRM called Advanced Find. And it's a query tool. So I can go into Advanced Find here and I can query to just about any level in the system using this simple tool. And one of the things that I want to query on is customers that buy a certain item. So you can see that we have some queries already built here that we give with our system. And one of them is every customer that's had an invoice that contains a certain item number. Now, these can also be portions of an item, and you can use wildcard searching here as well. So I want to find every customer that essentially buys a certain item, and in a lot of systems, the first three characters represent the vendor or supplier. So I could even shorten that query up a little bit and get all the customers that buy that one vendor. In this case, I'm just going to leave it as buying this particular item. So when I query that, you'll see that we get a number of different results back. So it would be very easy for me to go ahead and target these customers with, let's say, an email, or maybe I even want to queue up phone calls for the inside sales team to call into these customers. So you can do that very easily using what's called a quick campaign in Microsoft CRM. So I select those customer records. I can go in, I can run a quick campaign, step through a wizard, and create this campaign. So let's just call it sales calls. And I'm going to go ahead and create phone calls in this campaign. And one of the things I have at my disposal here is to assign these phone calls to the outside sales reps. In other words, the owners of each of the customer records, rather than to myself. Or I could queue them up into a queue, let's say, for our inside sales department. So they could work off of a queue to be able to make these calls. So let's take the scenario that we're having maybe a special price on this particular product, and we want to call into those customers and make sure they're aware that until the end of November, the price is 10% less on this particular item. Or another great example of this is if you're aware of an upcoming price increase. So as of December 1, this item is going to increase in price. So you may want to go out and look at all the customers that have purchased that item in the last 6 months and either email them or call into them, letting them know that there's a price increase coming and that they may want to purchase now. So a couple of good scenarios there. Let's go ahead and step through. And I could now just create the phone call, and I could even put in a somewhat of a script here that I might want the person that's calling to follow as they make these calls. So, I would just queue up different information about the phone call, the call script that I might want them to follow, or just talking points that I might put in the phone call, and if I hit next and finish, it would schedule a call for all of the accounts that got returned as part of that query. So really, really, really simple, but yet extremely powerful way to market in a very targeted fashion. Also, in CRM for distribution, you have marketing lists as well. And marketing lists are just collections of either prospects or customers or even vendor contacts that you might want to market to specifically. So again, back to the targeted marketing concept. So these lists can either be built manually. So one of the things that I could have done when I was querying back here on the customers, right? So let's go back in, run that query. So we're just going to go in and say, show me every customer that buys a certain item or a certain vendor, a certain product group. Go ahead and query that. One of the things I could have done is I could have taken this result set and I could have added them to a marketing list to be targeted with certain types of information. Okay? So you can either build these lists manually just by selecting contacts or customers, vendors, prospects, and so forth, and adding them to marketing lists. I could query the system and add them to a marketing list, or I can create dynamic marketing lists. And the concept there being that as the order and invoice data is flowing in from your ERP system, that customers can be dropped onto marketing lists automatically. So anytime that there's an order placed that has a 3M item on it, maybe you want a customer dropped onto a marketing list for 3M customers. So that way, when your marketing person goes to do their next marketing campaign on 3M product, that list is pre-built, ready to go. All they have to do is select it and design their campaign. So really, really powerful functionality. Again, these lists can be either built manually or they can be built dynamically as data is flowing in from the ERP system. It's really, really powerful functionality. And there's a lot more functionality that's available from the marketing standpoint. We're actually having a webinar on that coming up. I'll give you the date here at the end of our session today. But it's marketing tools and techniques for today's wholesale distributor. And we're going to go into the marketing aspect of CRM for distribution in a lot more detail during that session. So I would encourage you that, to join that if marketing is something that is of interest to you. But our solution lets you track visits to your website, who's visiting your website, what are they looking at, alerting your salesperson for that customer or prospect when they visit your website, sending out email campaigns and tracking the performance, right? So who opens it, who clicks on it, notification back to the account manager when one of their customers clicks on an email campaign, and so forth. They're all topics that we're going to cover in that upcoming webinar. So one of the last topics I want to cover here is around dashboarding and reporting overall. So I'm just going to go out here to my dashboard. In the CRM product, every user can have their own homepage dashboard. And that can either be a dashboard page that they build on their own, which is not difficult, or they can take one of the system-level dashboards and they can save it as their own dashboard. And then they could edit it and so forth. So with our solution, CRM for distribution, you can see that we include a whole bunch of different dashboards in our solution, and then a whole bunch of different dashboard parts, which are these individual squares here. There are literally hundreds of them in our solution. So an example of that might be, when I log in the morning, I might want to keep an eye on my top 5 most profitable customers in the last 12-month period. You can see that I've got those customers lined up here, and I could drill into these customers as well and look up the invoices that actually make up these dollars in sales. Over here, I'm looking at my quote pipeline. So that's something that, as a sales professional, I'm very interested in. And as well, I could dig in. This is quotes, by the way, by dollars by customer. So I could drill into this dashboard and look at the detail of the data that makes up that chart. So if I want to look at the quotes for the customer here that shows over 700,000, I just click on that area of the chart. And you can see that we've got a bunch of different quotes open for that particular customer. And I could drill down into any one of basically, as the quote hits CRM, whether you're doing quotes in your ERP system and they're flowing into CRM, or you're doing quotes directly in CRM, once the quote's created in CRM, we can apply a follow-up process to that quote. And you could even base that on dollars. So if it's less than $500, then put a follow-up activity in the inside sales queue for somebody in inside sales to follow up on that quote. If it's over $500, then assign that follow-up activity to the outside sales rep for that particular customer account. So if it's over $500, you want the actual account manager to follow up on that quote. So that does a number of different things. It tightens up your quote pipeline, and it also creates accountability around people following up on quotes, right? I can't think of much more important task than following up on a quote, because that's a piece of business that could potentially generate revenue. So back to our dashboards here. These are just examples, and they come with our system. But if I'm a sales manager, maybe I'm interested in looking at the sales performance of my team over different slices of time, and then of course I have my activity list for the day pinned up on my individual dashboard. But lots of examples of dashboards in the system, really, really powerful. So here's the sales history dashboard. For example, if I want to look at item group sales in a year-to-date format, so I can see that across the different item groups, what item groups are performing the best in terms of sales and which ones are not. And I can pull that down, and I've got a lot of different views of that particular item group sales performance data. So lots and lots and lots of dashboards and charts available throughout our entire solution. Again, we took about 15 years of experience in understanding what distributors want to see on dashboards and built that into our solution. So chances are what you want to see is probably already there, and if not, really simple to build out dashboards in the system. Even end users can build dashboards. So similarly then for reporting, we have a library of reports that come out of box with our solution, and some really impactful reports in there as well. So if I navigate over to the reports area, you'll see these are all CRM for distribution reports that come out of box. So things like expired quotes, leads that haven't been followed up on, quote requests that haven't been followed up on, past due sales calls, expense data, and so forth, all developed and available to you out of box in our report library. So that brings me to the end of my scheduled agenda for today. We covered that in just a little over 50 minutes, it looks like. So I'd encourage you at this point to go ahead and ask any questions that you might have in the question pane of your GoToWebinar client. And we do have a few questions out here. One is, do you support the cloud version? And the answer is absolutely. So our solution, CRM for Distribution, is available for either Microsoft CRM on-premise or Microsoft CRM Online, which is Microsoft's cloud version of their CRM product. Our CRM for Distribution product is also sold in either a perpetual license, so you buy it, you pay for it, you own it, and then you pay ongoing maintenance, or we can offer it to you in a per-user, per-month fee, $14.50, for example, per user per month for all the functionality that we've developed in CRM for Distribution. That doesn't include the Microsoft CRM license. What versions of Outlook is supported? I believe it is Outlook 2003 or higher. I guaranteed it's definitely 2007 or higher, but I believe the support right now for Microsoft CRM goes back. Let's face it, it's 2014. So if you're on a 2003 version, it's probably time to start looking at upgrading. That is quite old at this point. Outlook is now up to version 2013, which lot of great enhancements to Outlook over those different versions as well. So if you're on an older, aging version of Outlook, you might want to take a look at some of the newer versions. Very powerful. Any other questions? Please go ahead and post them up. Otherwise, we'll start to conclude our session. I want to point out a few upcoming webinars that we have that you might want to consider joining. Let me just get that slide up here. So on Thursday, November 20th from 2 to 3, we're going to be talking about marketing tools and techniques for today's wholesale distributors. So diving into the marketing capabilities of the system, and we're going to have a special guest, Jesse Grunland from Quick Dimensions is going to be joining us. Quick Dimensions is a marketing tool that integrates and actually runs right inside of Microsoft CRM. So just amazing functionality. Definitely encourage you to join us for that on November 20th from 2 to 3. And then we also have an upcoming webinar on competing with Amazon in distribution. So obviously, Amazon entered the distribution space a couple years ago. They are definitely the elephant in the room. They started in the industrial space in distribution, but they've got their eye on a lot of other markets, and a lot of needs are quivering over Amazon getting into this space. So we're going to kind of peel it apart, talk about what Amazon does well and what is the opportunity for distributors to compete with Amazon. And that's Thursday, December 4th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. If you'd like invites to either one of those, please shoot me an email. My email address is on the screen here, dbuggy@behringer.net. I really thank everybody for joining today. Hopefully you found the session valuable. If you'd like to do a bit deeper dive in looking at our solution, please, again, shoot me an email or give me a call. Love to connect with you one-on-one, answer any questions, and we can certainly go in and take a look at the solution in more detail. So thank you again so much for joining us. I will conclude our session, and everyone have a great afternoon. Thanks again.